Hey everyone, welcome to PunkCast. My name is William Maxwell. I'm a student of Web3 and the owner of Punk2939. CryptoPunks are 10,000 uniquely generated characters stored permanently on the Ethereum blockchain. No punk is the same. This is a show dedicated to celebrating the punks behind the punk. My hope for this podcast is that we capture the essence of the punk culture, elevate the brand and the individual behind the punk. One last thing. Projects discussed on the show is not financial advice. Crypto and NFTs are a volatile and risky asset class. Please always do your own research. Other than that, let's go. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of PunkCast. Today we've got Punk2939. He's a Atty donning a badass earring and a cool orange knitted cap. He's a Web2 angel investor and currently serving as Chief Meme Officer for Third World Whale. Please welcome to the show, Gab. Gab, how are you, mate? Long time no see.
Long time no see, Maxwell. Good to finally reconnect, bro.
I know, it's been a while, right? I think we were just talking before we kicked off the podcast that in that massive bull run last year, I wasn't sure if you remembered me because I had a different punk back then. But you boys in Indonesia there were basically pumping up basically every single project during Asia hours, right? When the Americans were asleep.
Yeah, that's true.
And just remind me who was in that close knit community of yours? You had Evan Tan, you had Sip City,
yep,
and you had Arnold Palomo, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like the core members.
And how did you guys all meet? Like, just all start meeting and hanging out and DJing together? Like, how did that all come about?
Yeah, so it was really funny how it all started. We really just started off as a little Telegram group. There was I still remember there was still only like 8 members in there, and this happened as soon as I think Bored Apes was coming out on what's that messaging chat that people used to go into? It was like a voice one. It was
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse, that's right. So Clubhouse was happening, and then suddenly I saw like a few people with these Bored Apes kind of dismissed it. I knew about Hashmas already, but then like a friend of mine on Instagram called Brian was posting about Bored Apes. And, I kind of DM'd him, and then I was just like, yo, Brian, what's going on? I want to learn more about NFTs. And then he invited me to this group with like 8 people. And that's when, Evan was there, Chip was there, it was me, it was Brian, a few other guys who are kind of not active anymore, but White Crow. So Brian also ended up becoming the artist for Oni, which is another story, by the way. He's like the main artist for the Oni Force. Shout out to him,
mate. Yeah, so yeah. I think I came across one of the co-founders. No shit. Okay, yeah. Keep going.
So Brian was an artist back in the day already. He was just sort of doing his thing, and so he invited me to the group. It was 8 of us, and over time it just it became like 100-member group, all Indonesian NFT people, like people from like crypto, people from all walks of life, some like VC guys, some like family business people. We started this chat, but then it became so big and a lot of people wanted to come in that we had to like make a new Telegram group with like the OG members. So we kind of have 2 now, right? And the new group became Third World Whales, and then the old group still is what it is, but it's sort of like a bigger group of like NFT enthusiasts in Indonesia.
Oh, nice. So yeah. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit more. What is Third World Whale exactly?
Honestly, it's still sort of a work in progress. On the top of the bull market, we were kind of like, we almost became kind of like the voice of NFTs in Indonesia, right? So a lot of people in Indonesia were like coming to us and like asking for advice, and we kind of, especially with like Arnold in there. Who's also quite who's famous in Indonesia already. He's like the judge of like MasterChef, and like a household name here. Like You
Yeah,
know?
I saw his profile. He's got like 2 million followers, right? So whenever he tweeted something back then, he could basically just get a lot of activity going on. But maybe if you could
Yeah.
just give a high level summary of who Arnold actually is. So you said he is a Master Chef sort of celebrity, but
Yeah,
uh,
so he's like the Gordon Ramsay of Indonesia, to put it short. Like if you go to the grocery store right now and like buy like chicken nuggets, you can find his face on like some chicken nuggets and like with the thumbs up. Like he's that level of like nationwide celebrity, right?
that's cool.
In Indonesia, so and now he's just a total degen and just like like trolling every day on Twitter. It's hilarious. Like his like public persona has changed. But
He's
he's one of the boys. Yeah,
he should put his punk on the chicken nugget wrappers then.
yeah, he should. Right? I know. He actually just recently got a new punk, which is cool. But yeah. So I mean, we just because of who he was and like Evan becoming like Evan's probably the most like OG in the group, right? Like he's also an honorary board ape. So we all kind of just came together from different backgrounds, and then Third World Whale just like kind of organically became this. I would say it's like we were kind of a media thing for a while, just making content and a community based thing, and we were thinking about creating a Discord also for Indonesia, and also like at one point it was also helping promote local projects. One being Karafuru, if you know about that one. So it was kind
Yeah, I
of
remember the
like
project.
right. So Karafuru like blew up, and I mean. I think it's safe to say that Third World Whales was a big part of that blow up. We'll take credit for that. So I don't know if the
Definitely
Karafuru boys are listening, but they'll be the first to admit it too. So there you go.
awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, mate, I'm just looking at the Third World Whale Twitter handle. I'll put this in the show notes as well. But I think there's just a post that just caught my eye for saying happy birthday to Arnold.
Yeah.
And there's this lady sort of DJing and
Yeah.
and yelling out random
Yeah.
crypto slang terms, but
That's
that's
right.
pretty funny. So and so basically it's kind of just doing its own thing now, just a Discord chat and just hanging out, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't move on to Discord yet. We're still just a big Telegram group, but it's sort of just a community. It's a community and like, run by a couple Indo OGs and, and it's like it's got I guess it's a bit educational, but it's mostly content driven. We're still figuring out what to do with it exactly, right? It's still just, but
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then maybe just to maybe give a brief introduction to yourself and your background, your history, and how you sort of found yourself into sort of Web3.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, I've always just been into investing. Yeah, I guess my family we have a family business, but I've kind of just been doing my own investments in first of all like equities. Right after Brexit, I started really getting into like stocks, like the U.S. stocks, and like just understanding markets. And then I got into a little bit of angel investing here in Indonesia. So kind of got exposed to like the startup scene in like 2014, I'd like to say. So yeah, I started investing a little bit into some like yeah, just like Web2 companies. I've exited like one, but the rest have pretty much have gone to like they're all illiquid now, and that's a huge lesson learned for me too. So it's a tough time now for Web2 especially too. I mean, it's hard to monetize. Not every single startup is going to be the next like Gojek or Grab if you've heard about these companies. If
Yeah, of course.
IPO'd, right? So I guess yeah. I mean, that's sort of what I was doing initially, and then I stumbled across Bitcoin in 2017. I bought in the top of the bull market, and kind of saw all my investment go to zero basically. But luckily, I never I just didn't touch it. I just never sold it. Kind of forgot about it and left it. Never really. I missed the DeFi summer, and going on to COVID. Started getting into gaming. So I was gaming a lot with my friends. We were playing Warzone like day in, day out. And then started to stumble across NFTs. I remember looking at punks at like $2,000 and thought that was like the stupidest thing to ever put my money into. And then like hash masks happened. But then I started, I was gaming a lot, and then started to really dabble more into NFTs when I think Bored Apes happened, and just never really looked back since. Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah,
It's kind of a wild ride.
yeah, man.
And so like, when you look back, what was your first NFT that you bought, and what led you to it?
I remember looking at Bored Apes at like 5 ETH floor at the time. I think this was like June. I mean, May or June. Can't remember. But I just thought they were way too expensive back then. So my thesis at the time was, well, I've obviously missed the train on Bored Apes. I'm going to buy the next big thing. And then I started really buying NFTs when, I don't know if you remember this project called Wicked Craniums came out. And, in my mind,
It got botted out, right? This is when pre-mints didn't exist. They were just basically the mid for contract.
That's right. Those were the good days. Like, those are good times, actually. But yeah, it was a no-brainer because I was reading. I was looking at all the Twitter stuff. I was reading up on NFTs more, and it's just like Wicked Cranium's the next big thing. Yada yada yada. And I'm just like, oh, these are so cheap. Like, of course they're gonna go to 5 ETH floor. I mean, look at Bored Apes, and I bought like 4 Wicked Craniums, and I bought some pretty nice ones, man. Like I spent at that time, I think it was quite a bit of ETH on buying NFTs. I think I can't remember. I think I spent at least like 5 ETH on Wicked Craniums, and
on secondary or primary?
No, all on secondary. But it was like literally the second or third day after they were minted. That's when I started buying. So I didn't mint them. I just bought them secondary, but I got some nice rares. I still have some. I'm not sure if I still have them actually, but I've got this like gold one. I've got this like trippy one, which was considered like pretty high level, rarity. And yeah, man.
So that was your first NFT, and so what made you sort of stay? Like, where did you go from there? Like, did that pump? Did that give you a bit of high? Did you exit any of those?
They did not pump. Yeah, it just like went to zero, bro. What can I say?
Okay.
Yeah, but what really made me stick was kind of this is probably the most like common answer you'll probably get, and it sounds cliche, but it's true that it is the community that kind of made me stay. I was kind of like going on Discord and talking to understanding how it all works, and just coming out of gaming, coming out of Warzone and everything, it just clicked, and it just made sense to me that this was not going away. Like, this is, I have my little cousin who's a big gamer, and he for him to understand it was very quick. So I just thought, wow, this is super cool. I'm meeting a lot of new people. I'm learning a lot of shit. Like, it just makes sense. Like, it didn't seem such a foreign thing to me. So it was a bit of a no-brainer moment. And then, and of course, seeing some people making money on it, obviously made it easier for me to get into it, right?
That was a really crazy cycle we had last year, but
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there was one project that I think you guys were shilling pretty hard. It was it was sort of an art project where basically had like multiple sort of colors through it, purplish sort of feel. I can't remember what it was.
Was it on Artblocks? Or no?
No, it wasn't Artblocks. Okay. I think it was an Indonesian
artist. Yeah. Superlatives. Yeah. So wow. I mean, like, those guys have a great story, by the way, and I think you should actually interview them too. They ended up buying up a big, like, reasonably, big building in Bali, and now they have an NFT gallery there to showcase art. Local artists, and they all made all that money from Superlatives. These guys came from nothing, really, and just kind of, like little local celebrities now.
Nice. Yeah. No, I'll have to check. I'll have to check it out. But
shout out to them.
Are they punk owners as well? Or?
No, they're not. That's right.
Okay. Not trying to be too exclusive. Cool. And then so that was your introduction to NFTs. And then what was your journey into CryptoPunks? Like, talk to me about that. Like, when did you first hear about it, and how did you get interested in CryptoPunks? I mean, going from Wicked Craniums to CryptoPunks is a pretty big difference, right?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I think my CryptoPunk purchase was kind of like a revenge purchase. Like it was. It's like, but so I saw Punk's first time at like $2,000, and this was like before Bored Apes, like before anybody was talking about NFTs. And then I really started to look into them further. You know, like I started to really understand the history. I was doing a lot of my research. I was listening to a lot of podcasts, like a lot of the punk OGs, and I was looking into just art in general and how art is seen in history. And I just thought, okay, CryptoPunks seemed like the most sensible thing to buy, even though it may be so expensive, but it's like buying it's like buying a watch, like a Patek Philippe. And I remember tweeting I also collect watches, so I have this like Patek Philippe watch. I tweeted it out, and I'll find the tweet for you and send it to you in private next time. But it was like, hey, should I trade this for a CryptoPunk, right? And I tweeted it, and it kind of went viral. It was like, I don't know if you remember this tweet, but it got like 300 likes, and like G Money retweeted it, and like all these people with blue ticks were like retweeting me, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? I woke up in the morning and I'm just like, holy shit, all these like guys are retweeting me about my watch, and telling me I should just sell it right now and buy a CryptoPunk. At that time, a punk was around $30,000. And
so when was this? Was this around March, April?
Yeah, around the same time. It was like it was like peak COVID. I was stuck at home. Retweeted my watch, kind of went viral, and I was just like, holy shit. So at that time, I could have bought probably like 2 punks for the price of that watch, and I kind of just and because of that, I kind of went deeper into the rabbit hole and.
Wait, Gab, you got to finish the story. Did you actually sell the Patek for some punks?
No, so basically, so this is the funny. Okay, so the funny story is I didn't sell the watch. I still have the watch, but I also bought the punk. But I bought the punk 2x the price of the time I tweeted. When I said, I should have bought it at the time I fucking tweeted that watch. I could have bought 2 punks. But I didn't buy a punk until June, and that was already at like 60 ETH floor. So I got in at a pretty expensive price. It's like the same time. It's like the same price it is now, right? Basically.
But 60 ETH around June last year would have been pre-pump, right? I mean, those went to like 140 ETH floor at some stage, right? Remember?
Yeah, no.
So you still got in.
Yeah. I mean, considering how much I could have sold it for, it's still not too bad, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And mate, so talk to me about your purchasing. Like, how did you come across? An earring, knitted cap, cool dude. Were you looking at many different ones? What was your sort of thinking around this particular punk?
Honestly, it was. I woke up in the morning because I couldn't sleep. Like I was thinking about buying a punk all night. I was having like cold sweats waking up, and I'm just like, holy shit, I just gotta do it. I open up my laptop. I've got the ETH there already, and I'm just looking through punks, and then it's just like. Impulse buy. I see the one that I like, and I'm like, it's not too expensive. Boom, I press buy. Didn't even think too hard about it, man. I just saw I like the beanie. I like the way it looks. It looks clean. All I remember is you got to get a clean punk, right? I don't want There's obviously I did a bit of research. There's there's certain traits that you want to avoid. Well, not avoid, but
which ones would you want to avoid?
Okay, well, okay. When I say avoid, I mean it's. I mean the market doesn't appreciate it as much, and it's kind of more harder to sell. There's ones the shit beard, and maybe there's the penis looking mohawk. There's a couple that we all kind of know that they don't look right, you know what I mean?
No, I hear.
Yeah, and and I just press buy. I buy this punk, and the funny story is, it turns out, I didn't even see who owned it at the time, but it was Evan's punk, Evan Tan.
No
And
way.
I did, and you should actually ask him about this when you talk to him. But yeah, I didn't,
I
and
will.
he was like, he texted me, like, he texted the group like, "Holy shit, someone just bought my punk. I bought it only 3 days ago. I just made 20 ETH profit." And I'm like, and I was like, "What? Wait." I look into the fucking thing and I'm like, "Holy shit, I just bought your punk and I didn't even know it was yours, Evan. You're welcome, by the way, keep the change." But yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. We didn't even know. I had no idea it was his punk and I just bought it. Yeah.
Well, it makes now that it's on chain, it makes it even more special, right?
Yeah.
You've got a story behind it.
Yeah.
No, it's a super cool punk, man, and I've got a very soft spot for knitted caps as
Yeah,
well.
for sure. I'm happy with it.
So then, man, so talk to me about your current bags. Like, what are you collecting? And I guess for you personally, like, why do you actually collect?
So I've kind of been into timepieces for a while. I mean, I'm not a big watch collector per se, but I like watches, and I understand like which I'm not a huge collector on other things apart from watches, honestly, or like sneakers. But I
But in the context of NFTs, like, are you collecting anything,
yeah,
or
no, no. I mean,
why do you
no,
collect
I know.
them?
So yeah, I mean, I like things. I'm quite like aesthetically driven when it comes to collecting. Obviously, brand is an important thing, but when it comes to NFTs, I mean, I've got a lot of I've got a mixed bag. I've got another wallet that I didn't show you, but most of the NFTs are I've got some cool cats, a lot of PFP stuff. It was a lot of it like just anything that was kind of like popping in the bull market. I got a lot of Kongs too, some VXs, but I want to eventually, go into more like one of ones and generative art. I feel like I think the market is still probably too early to appreciate kind of the art block stuff, but I feel like there's still a lot of NFTs I want to obtain, like the Chromie squiggles, like just like blue chip classics, and I feel like at the end of the day, it's all about the classics. Like, yeah, you can speculate on whatever is the next hot thing, but I just want to have like blue chips in my wallet. That's kind of the goal. Like, just to, I want to have one ape, one punk, some chromie school, some art block stuff, and just like, cool, I'm good. It's not really about chasing the next big thing. So that's kind of where
Yeah.
my mindset is going towards.
It's I'm sort of thinking the same
Yeah.
way too. It feels like all of us have matured in the last 12 months, right?
Yeah.
I think we were pushing around for ridiculous PFP plays, but it sounds like we're growing up in the space. Like, we're an acquired taste for fine art now. It sounds,
Yeah,
right?
no, definitely. And I mean, it's part of a part of its internet history that you cannot like disregard. There's, I mean, like even like some of the photography stuff, man, like Justin Arbasano, Twin Flames, like all these. There's just some pieces that are just like I want to, it's I'm appreciating it for what it is more than kind of the what do you call it, like the hype around it. It's like it is a piece of art and it's part of internet history, and that's the way I kind of look at it these days. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, 100%. And I think, with us being, reasonably, entrenched in the space that early, it's almost like a relic just to remind us of those days too, right? So, which is a sentimental sort of piece.
For sure.
Cool, man. And so like when you look at your NFT career to date, like, if you were to sort of think about a win or a really positive sort of outcome for you, does anything sort of come to mind?
Oh, I mean, honestly, probably Cool Cats. I think I got pretty lucky with Cool Cats. I kind of traded them all the way up. Got in really early. I think I got some pretty good, nice wins there. But the problem is I rebought. I kept buying, but like with the profits, you just keep buying, right? You just I think you do get a bit lost in the space, and at the time you get a bit greedy. You think, you can just keep buying up and reinvesting your capital. But no, Cool Cats was a good win for me.
It's cool.
And yeah. I'm a
cool.
hodler, to be honest. I'm not a big trader. I kind of just buy and I just want to collect. I'm not so big on taking profits, which is obviously the wrong mindset to have, in retrospect. But my mindset at that time was just sort of I just want to keep collecting, Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And what about any sort of worst loss or regrets that you have in
Mutant.
NFTs?
So I bought Mutant, and actually, believe it or not, man, I cut loss on it. So that was painful, bro. It was painful. But
what was it? What was your entry?
My entry was I think around 12 ETH. I'm not mistaken, or 10 or something like that. And I sold too early, cut loss, but then I redeemed myself by buying cryptos at the time, and cryptos were booming.
Man,
by the way, cryptos is still one of my favorite NFT projects of all time. It's what a project. I think it's just I love Toad still to this day.
Yeah,
I think
same.
Yeah, it was
same. But I do remember that run. There was hit a 15 floor, right? That was just absolute
the Toads,
insanity.
yeah, man. Oh my god, our chats were just blowing up during Toads. That was probably the last time I had the euphoric kind of moment and feeling in NFTs. It was during cryptos. That was the peak. For me, that was my happiest moment, my happiest memory from the bull market last year. Was when cryptos were just pumping. We were all in it together. Everyone was making money. It was just, that was it.
Yeah, everybody was shopping, popping champagne and eating caviar for a while there, right? But not to be anymore. No, that's cool. And when you look across into, I guess, Twitter land, do you come across a favorite punk personality that you sort of look up to, or you find a lot of insight from?
There's definitely a couple, bro. Obviously, I think G Money is one. That's probably on top of everyone's list, and he's actually a cool dude. He's pretty, down to earth. He's actually a pretty down to earth guy, and pretty accessible. If you talk to him, he's always open for a little chat, right? And always drops. And the way he sort of just positioned himself as a brand, I think is genius too. He may not be as insightful as what's the other guy called? 6239? 6529, sorry.
Yeah.
But he's sort of just he drops gems and very easy for people to digest and understand. Who else do I like? There was this one guy also called Tappy SF. Is it Tappy? He's pretty cool. Tappy SF.
He's a Toad
Maxi, yeah, man. He was just dropping jams back in the day, and he was pretty underrated, under the radar. But he was dropping some his tweets were awesome. Those are the two on top of my mind. Of course, the boys, Evan Tan for sure, Chip. Man.
Yeah.
Shout outs. Yeah.
Cool. And if you had to describe punk culture in a few words, how would you describe it?
In one word?
In a few
words. Authentic. OG. And classic. Yeah.
That's cool. And that's perfect. And just going back a little bit as well, I forgot to sort of ask you this, but I think you said you had in the bag some apes and stuff like that as well. And I think we were just talking about just before the podcast kicked off. But is there a reason why you've chosen, I guess, a punk to be your identity over, I guess, other NFTs?
I think it's the best suited one I can use for like LinkedIn too. You know, like
Yeah,
my punk is my LinkedIn picture now. No lie, it's also
that's
my
cool.
like I'm whatever I do now professionally, I'm happy to put my punk as my identity because it like I think punks have that level of legitimacy already, even in like the VC world, the finance world. Like people look at it, it's like okay, we understand what this is. If you don't, then I'm talking to the wrong guy. It's like um,
Yeah,
it's sort of just like how I feel about some watches. Like you wear a Rolex, like a Daytona. That's it. Like say less. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
there's nothing else needs to be said. That's a classic Daytona. That's it. That's it's a beautiful watch, right? This is how I feel about punks. It's just sort of like there's nothing else to say. Like it's a punk. That's it. I mean, for me, that's how I see it.
yeah.
That's how I feel like it's sort of already like in internet culture and history. It's sort of positioned itself. Um, I mean, Bored Apes are cool too, but I see a Bored Ape as like a Richard Mille. It's like very flashy, very loud. It's like, but then a punk is more like, yeah, it's a little more understated, but a little more like low key, and but it still has that certain like I guess like aura of class to it or whatever. I don't know. I'm talking shit
No,
now.
no, no,
Yeah,
no, you're not, man.
yeah,
This is beautiful, dude. I'm glad
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
recorded this, right? And I feel
yeah,
exactly the
yeah.
same way, man. So, um, yeah, that's cool. And then if you could pass a message on to the next owner of your punk, what would you like to say to them?
It's gonna be my kids, bro. That's the next order of my punk. I'm passing this on. It's never gonna sell.
Just like in
Yeah,
the
that's it.
text.
I'm gonna take care of it. What else can I say? Take care of him. You know? Yeah.
Amazing. And so like for you now, I mean, like, is it when you look out? Is there anything that really excites you about Web3 and NFTs in the next sort of 3 to 5 years as we move out of this bear market?
Yeah, I think. I mean, what I'm excited for is sort of the connection with real world utility, right? I think that's sort of like a buzz topic now too, though. It's like a theme that everyone's sort of saying, "Oh, yeah, NFTs," but how can we connect it to the real world and have real utility in the real world also, like physically connect the physical to the digital, right? And I'm excited to see how that's going to play out. I mean, I'm still pretty active in the space, obviously not as much as before, but um, I think there's just going to come a time where it all makes sense. And I think it just requires a little more education, and also like, macroeconomic like situation also to improve. But NFTs also don't have to be like a financial gaining thing, right? I mean, it's applicable to just you know ways of what do you call it, like legitimizing like intellectual property in any means necessary. Like it doesn't have to be a financial. It doesn't have to be a thing to make money on, right? It can just be sort of right. So
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely, and yeah, yeah. I think just along that line. I mean, I've been reading up on soulbound
yeah,
tokens,
right,
right?
right.
So you can sort of see the use cases from that. I think just for everybody that's listening, soulbound token is basically a token that you cannot sell or transfer, right? So it stays with your wallet forever. But a good use case of it would be like, university degree, or KYC for your bank or something like that they've sort of done with you. They could just do it
Yeah,
once. So there's a lot of use cases for it. And you're right, it doesn't necessarily need to carry
that's right.
monetary value, but can actually open up a lot of doors for many, many different use cases.
Yeah,
Which
100%.
is
Like
super
I mean,
exciting.
in like in Indonesia, where I'm from, I think, like, for example, land certification can be a bit of a problem sometimes. Like, um, there's a lot of like bureaucracy and like a lot of like red tape in the government, um, of like proving you own like a piece of land, for example. And I can see how like something like NFTs could just totally solve that. I think it could be integrated into
Absolutely.
so many like governmental institutions also, right? Right. Yeah, I mean, like in an ideal world, obviously, I don't know if it's gonna happen, but it's just kind of like utopic idea of NFTs. Yeah, yeah.
Totally. Mate, and just a side question as well. What's the NFT vibe like in Indonesia? Is it huge? Is it mainstream, or is it sort of underground?
I mean, it got to a point where it was very well. It was like the buzz word and like in everyone's mouths, right? Especially, I don't know if you remember this guy called Gozali. The so
Yeah.
I'm also happy to I'm also kind of proud to say that my friends and all of us at Thurber Well were the reason for this guy's success, right? After, so so he became a sensation. He is kind of like at the top of the bull market everywhere. You would drive down the road in Jakarta and see this kid's face on billboards. Yes,
Oh,
100%.
really? Is he? But he's not.
He's
He's not
Indonesian. He's
Indonesian
from
though, right?
Indonesia, and so he did the 300
Is he?
selfies, and then we pumped that thing up like 10x overnight or whatever. With the help of Chef also and my friend Sweet Tooth, and this kid was all over. He was on billboards
But
like next minute, like literally. I kid you not.
in what context though? Like,
He was being used for
what
just
was
all
he on
the
billboards for?
ads for startups. So all the startups took note of this. He became like he went viral, and then like all these like Robin Hood type finance startups were like using his face for their ad, and now like he was just on. He was everywhere. He was a sensation, and he was on national TV, everything. So yeah,
Hilarious.
so I think
Um,
that's when like it kind of seeped into the public consciousness, and everyone wanted to be the next Gozali. Every Indonesian kid was like,
can you just explain to the listeners what
yeah.
Ghazali
So there
actually
was
is?
this Indonesian kid who took pictures of him or took selfie of himself for 3 years, every single day, and he uploaded everything on OpenSea. And he dropped it as like a NFT collection, right? If I remember correctly, it was on Polygon. So yeah, and then we stumbled across it. I can't remember who exactly. I think Evan stumbled across it first time and just bought like 10 as a joke. I thought, haha, this is funny. And then he kind of like he posted it on the group. We were all like, oh my god, that is hilarious. We all started just buying it for fun. Right, it was just for jokes, and then like Arnold started like tweeting it to his like 2 million followers, like the next big thing or NFT goes out, da da da, and it just pumped, man. Like it just went viral, and I couldn't believe how this thing caught on so fast, and like we literally changed that kid's life. He walked away. I don't know with how much. I think with like life-changing money for him, definitely. He comes from a lower socioeconomic class in Indonesia, right? So he was able to afford his. He bought a car and he became famous and became a celebrity.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I might have to switch some calls
for sure,
after
bro.
we finish this call.
Yeah.
No, this is cool, Gav. And I guess just sort of wrapping up. I know it's getting closer to time, but any sort of final messages on your side, and how can people sort of reach out to you? And
yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's all about education now. I think now it's the time to learn. I mean, I have so much to learn too. I think now it's also the time to create like relationships in the space. I think everyone who's still in it and still building, I think that's amazing. I mean, I think we're still early. That's the main message. And I think people just have to be patient and create these like, relationships that will be everlasting. Yeah, my Twitter's at pimp_Freud, Freud. But I'm actually gonna rename myself to Gxb.eth officially soon. So we'll rebranding there. But yeah,
I'll definitely I'll put
sure,
your contact
man.
details in the show notes, and I'll take it from there. But Gab, this was super fun, man, and we should get you on maybe in a few months' time and just sort of check in with you, and I can share with you any Gonzales I've brought up. But
Sure thing.
But thanks for your time, man, and looking forward to having a chat to your crew as well, man. So I think I've got Evan next week. Be good to sort of.
You should get Arnold too.
But,
let me know if you need him.
Yeah, thanks for your time, dude.
You know. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure,
That's
man.
right.
If he's got a punk, yeah, for sure. Let's get him on.
Maxwell.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys, and that's a wrap for PunkCast this week. And we'll come back with another episode next week. Thanks, everyone.